He died swearing revenge, betrayed by those he trusted most, but fate had other plans. Instead of peace and death, he reborns as the son of the woman who once finished. In his previous life he fought and failed, but now with knowledge of every betrayal, every plot, and every weakness he sees a world where he can change his destiny. Born into a noble family that once scorned him, he now carries the heart of a killer and the mind of a strategist. Surrounded by nobles who doubt him, he stands taller than ever before, ready not just to survive but to rise, to dominate, and to make every enemy regret crossing. This isn't a reset. This is revenge rewritten with power, precision, and purpose. Welcome to the beginning of his true journey. In a world divided between humans and demons, long ago the two races lived in peace and even helped each other from time to time. However, one day, humans discovered immortal ore deep inside a cave. With this ore, they created magical treasures capable of unleashing powerful spells. Soon, a commander orders the 4th Regiment to activate the magical treasures. Then, the human soldiers begin firing blasts of energy from their new weapons. With this power, humans began invading demon territory to seize more resources. They took over 90% of the land and injured many demons. However, the heavens decided to balance the combat power between the two races. That is when our protagonist was born to change the game. He raises his hand and begins concentrating a massive amount of energy. Red energy grows stronger and stronger around our boy. Before him stands an entire army of human soldiers ready for battle. With a single strike, he launches a powerful beam toward his enemies. Our hero's attack surges forward, utterly destroying the battlefield. The commander and his soldier are shocked by what they just witnessed. From a distance, they see the trail of devastation caused by the boy's attack. A tremendous explosion rocks the very center of the soldiers' formation. The commander, now desperate, contacts the principality headquarters. She warns them the boy has grown stronger, and now the human race is in danger. Back in his hometown, our hero is greeted by an excited crowd chanting his name. However, Lin Potion does not seem happy with this reception, and wears an expression of displeasure. He asks why they made such a ceremony, but his disciple explains he is now the emperor's favorite. This is Muku, the sole disciple of our boy. He explains the nobles came rushing after his newfound fame. The crowd also congratulates Lin Potion's parents for having such an incredible son. Our protagonist complains that no one cared about him when he was poor, and his fiancée says this is actually a small crowd. She is Danu, Lin Potion's fiancée, and advises him not to reject the nobles directly. Immediately, the patriarch of the Horse Clan offers 20 limited edition sports cars. The Bear Clan offers a martial arts instructor position worth 3 billion per year. But the Dragon Clan thinks it's too little and offers 20 mansions, saying our hero deserves more. Lin Potion is embarrassed and says to make friends, you only need sincerity. Speaking of sincerity, a group of demon girls appears to offer him their hearts. One of them asks if her heart is sincere enough, and our boy says he already has a fiancée. Suddenly, the eldest princess arrives and everyone makes way. Our protagonist greets her formally, but she tells him not to worry about formality. The princess says her father, the emperor, sent her to invite him to the palace. However, Lin Potion refuses the invitation, saying it is not time to celebrate. It would affect the army's morale. The princess blushes and says she expected this answer from him. She accepts his refusal, and the nobles comment that he even rejected the princess for his fiancée. Apparently, someone didn't like that at all and broke the 20-centimeter heel of her shoe. Suddenly, a young woman from the Horse Clan loses her balance when her shoe's heel breaks. She was wearing a very flashy red dress during the fall, but our hero, with his quick reflexes, catches the woman in midair. He gently asks if she is all right after the big scare. The woman confirms she is fine, and the people watch the scene from afar. But the leader of the Bear Clan misunderstands everything and is left speechless. He shouts that Lin Potion has a secret fetish for horse girls, and the gossip spreads like wildfire. Then the demon girls start putting on horse ears to please our hero. The leader of the Dragon Clan orders his men to find girls who are already ready. Our protagonist is furious with the media, and his disciple tries to calm him down. After the commotion, Lin Potion's parents say goodbye and go to cook. Night falls over the city, and the mountains become covered in clouds. Meanwhile, the demons celebrate another victory and the strength of their lord. Our boy and his fiancée stroll through the city, enjoying the fireworks. The entire city is festive, with lights and celebrations everywhere. Muku says goodbye to go see the lion dance and says he'll meet them at home. Lin Potion goes to fetch his parents, and Danu promises to wait for dinner. Nearby, people watch the traditional lion dance in awe. In a temple, the demon race gives thanks for no longer being oppressed. Finally, the whole city celebrates the new era of peace with many fireworks. Our hero walks through the crowd, thinking about his life's journey. He reflects that the demon race has finally achieved its goal. Moreover, he cannot imagine how the humans could turn the tables, because in the next battle, he will invade their capital and bring peace to his family. And his parents, who once worked so hard, no longer need to worry. Our protagonist then begins to remember when he left for war. His parents called out to him with concern in front of their old, humble house. Back then, his father said the family didn't need him to join the army. The young Potion had tears in his eyes as he said goodbye, and his parents begged him not to fight on the front lines so he wouldn't get hurt. Back in the present, He holds gifts given to him by the people and smiles happily. He is very satisfied with his life and walks home thinking of his parents. Arriving at the door, our boy prepares to enter and find his family, but something feels wrong. He senses danger upon hearing a faint call. Looking inside, he sees a horrific scene. His mother, bound and badly wounded, begs him to run. His parents are tied up and severely injured amidst great chaos. With his last strength, his father also pleads for his son to flee. Suddenly, a powerful energy blast is fired directly at our protagonist. Is shocked and terrified by the surprise attack. Then, with a heart full of hatred, he unleashes a wave of explosions. Our hero then realizes there was poison hidden in his parents' cups, and a purple smoke begins to rise through his body, showing he has been infected. From afar, a girl laughs diabolically, celebrating that he fell into the trap. She reveals she created 300 types of deadly poisons especially for our boy. This girl is Zairui, humanity's #1 poison master and creator of the plague. She and her companions watch the poison spread through the mountains. Meanwhile, the army of human soldiers kneels in reverence. They stand before the image of a man with red eyes and a large beard. This is Wang Feng, the demon-sealing king, and he orders everyone to attack. The soldiers then prepare their weapons, aim at our protagonist, and fire a volley of immortal bullets with full force. Our boy is hit by several shots at once and is badly wounded. One shot manages to pierce his arm and he feels immense pain. Even poisoned and missing an arm, he continues to fight bravely. A soldier comments the poison is working, as he normally wouldn't be injured. Another shot comes his way, but he prepares to counter. The soldiers shout they must seize this chance to finish. Our hero then uses all his strength to fly away from the battlefield. However, he is not fleeing. He looks down with a gaze of pure vengeance. But a huge green energy cage appears and traps him in the sky. Then, a ceiling array with lanterns in the sky is activated against our hero. The soldiers prepare for the attack, as all the magical treasure ropes have been gathered. With this, our protagonist is bound by numerous energy ropes and cannot move. The soldiers receive the order to pull the ropes with all their might. Our boy's face fills with rage as he tries to resist the trap, but the force is so great he is yanked downward, destroying part of the mount. Seeing this, a soldier orders everyone to prepare to end him once and for all. Yet, even bound, our hero raises his hand, which begins to glow intensely. He is dragged into a dark pit by the energy rope still holding him. Suddenly, his hand shines even brighter, preparing a powerful counterattack. He realizes the ambush and, with a punch, opens a hole to escape underground. But beneath him, another magical treasure, the Hankun cloth, awaits to seal. Then Zairui orders the magical treasure regiment to attack together. One soldier takes the chance to thrust a spear into his stomach, and others pin him down with their weapons, ready to deliver the final blow to Lin Potion. In response, our hero joins his hands and activates his demonic magic. A golden energy erupts from him, taking the form of a large, bright flower with the 1,000 birds technique. Soaring, he creates a massive energy vortex. The attack hurls the soldiers away and creates numerous firebirds across the sky. The soldiers realize it's an escape technique and order the capture of all the birds. The firebirds explode with full force against the green energy net. One manages to slip through a small gap and flies away rapidly. Soon, the birds merge and transform into a warrior with a monkey's tail. Our hero finally lands on the ground and seems to have escaped the trap. He celebrates the success of his escape plan and breathes a sigh of relief. But then Zairui appears in the sky and asks where the boy thinks he's going. Our protagonist looks back, frightened, realizing he hasn't escaped at all. From afar, Muku screams for help and summons the demon race's elite. He points to the mountain and warns everyone about the attack on Lord Lin Potion. Meanwhile, the villainess greets our boy with a terrifying smile. Our protagonist's face is bruised, and he seems to have lost hope. With the boy defeated, she asks if he has any last wishes. He says that throughout his military career, he never harmed a civilian. He continues, saying his parents and his wife were also just ordinary people. The villainess is surprised and says she was just being polite, as she didn't expect an answer. But our hero pleads for her to please leave the other demons in peace. Then, Zairui reveals that the plan to end his family was her idea. Our hero is in shock as the villainess says his existence is a great threat. She explains his genes are a danger to all of humanity. She raises her weapon and declares his entire family must be eliminated. Immediately, a soldier radios her to give a mission report. He informs her that 43 relatives of Lin Potion's paternal grandfather have been captured. Another soldier reports that 57 relatives from his mother's side have also been subdued. Furthermore, the family of his fiancée Danu has been seized, and she screams for him to run. Without a hint of remorse, Zairui orders her soldiers to finish them all. Then, the soldiers attack the helpless demons, who scream in pain and despair. They also fire their guns at the civilians without mercy. A terrible scene unfolds as many demons are gravely injured. Screams of agony fill the mountain as fire spreads. With everyone eliminated, the villainess dismisses her soldiers, and the mission is complete. Our hero no longer has any strength left, and his consciousness begins to fade. In his final moments, he apologizes to His Majesty the Emperor. He laments that the demon race was so close to achieving peace. He also apologizes to his family for not giving them a good life. He then remembers his fiancée, who since childhood asked him to marry her. our protagonist has a memory of when they were kids and shared a kiss, and he remembers her father chasing him with a broom for seducing his daughter. In his final moments, our hero laments not being able to marry. His fiancée Danu lies lifeless on the ground alongside the other demons. Ants are already beginning to crawl on her face as his vision darkens. He tells Zairui that demons have a legend about reincarnation. The villainess mocks him and says maybe in the next life. With a cruel smile, she promises not a single chromosome of his family will remain. Our boy's consciousness fades, and he sees shining coins falling. Suddenly, he wakes up in a strange place covered by these coins. He is in a paper boat on a river with other souls and asks where he is. Then a mysterious creature appears and says this is the path to the afterlife. The entity introduces itself as King Yanluo and confirms that Lin Potion is dead. Our hero is surprised, as King Yanluo really exists and he remembers praying to him. He asks if this is truly the path to the afterlife. Yanluo explains he must wait for his boat to reach the end of the river to reincarnate. To the boy's despair, this will take 500 years to happen. Lin Potion becomes furious and shouts he wants his revenge now, not in 500 years. For having been incredible in life, Yanluo offers a status addition program. Our protagonist doesn't understand and asks what that means. The king explains he can distribute points and attributes for his next life. Even the most excellent people who arrive here only get a maximum of 5 points. But to everyone's surprise, our protagonist is a very different case. He has 1,028 points. Without thinking twice, he shouts he wants time. Filled with rage, he begins pressing the button to speed up his reincarnation. Our hero says he can manage the rest with talent and hard work. He only needs time. He continues spending all his points to shorten the long 500-year wait. With this, his paper boat begins to accelerate faster and faster. He has already spent 68 points, and his boat gains an extra boost. Thus, the reincarnation time decreases to 471 years. Without stopping for a second, our boy continues pressing the button frantically. The other souls on the river are left behind, not understanding what's happening. His boat then transforms into a paper airplane, and the time drops to 312 years. He shouts it doesn't matter if he's born with nothing, because his vengeance is more important. Even if only his teeth remain, he will bite the necks of his enemies. Meanwhile, in the world of the living, Zairui goes into labor. Suddenly, our protagonist's boat now turns into a speedboat, cutting through the water. With 993 points spent, the time drops to 27 hours. The villainess's lackeys despair, as it's too late and they need a bed. Our hero's eyes shine with unshakable determination and pure hatred. His boat then becomes a rocket and finally reaches the end of the River of Souls. A light appears in the darkness, and our protagonist is about to be reborn. Our hero reaches the other shore of life and spends all his remaining points. He faces his rebirth with a gaze full of hatred and vengeance. A strong light begins to shine, and his soul enters the new body. The glow becomes so intense it blinds everything around, completing the transition. Meanwhile, in the world of the living, a man shouts that the baby's head is out. The doctor then holds the newborn and congratulates everyone on the baby boy. Our boy is confused and wonders if this is really his next life. He is handed to his mother and wonders if he is now human or demon. But upon seeing the woman's face, he is completely shocked and speechless, because his new mother is Zairui, the villainess who ended his past life. She finds him so cute she says she wants to eat him up, and our hero is horrified. Suddenly, King Yanluo appears before him and greets him again. The entity confirms the boy's reincarnation was completed successfully. However, now he will erase all memories of his past life forever. Our protagonist panics as his mother celebrates now having a son. Yanluo explains that she cannot see him and he shouldn't be offended. With his glowing staff, he touches the baby's forehead to erase his memories. Zairui is startled by the strong light emanating from her newborn son. Then an energy explosion occurs, throwing the lackeys far away. The king is pulling with all his might the memories from our boy's head. The memories of our hero are pulled out in bubbles of energy. He realizes his power is also being extracted along with the memories. The boy refuses to lose his chance for vengeance and reacts with everything he has. With his tiny hand, he grips King Yanluo's staff firmly and does not let go. The king says erasing memories is standard procedure and mortals cannot resist. Irritated, Yanluo orders the boy to let go immediately as he's causing trouble. He shouts he just wants to finish his work shift and go home. The story flashes back to 2.5 years ago in demon territory. A powerful man appears in the sky, his eyes glowing with pure energy. He is Chang, one of the disaster stars and the strongest of humans. His body, covered in rocks, disintegrates as he levitates with immense power. With the gravity magical treasure, he lifts a giant meteor from the ground. A massive wave of fire forms around the rock. With his stellar strike, he launches the fireball to destroy the demon race. Fortunately, the young Lin Potion was on guard and launches a small green dragon. The creature then grows into the enormous celestial guardian dragon. News of his feat spreads, and an important leader orders his promotion. Thus, our hero notes the 12 disaster stars became destined enemies to fight. Another star, Lenang, created a giant tsunami to drown the demons. Amidst the crowd, our protagonist prepares to face the wave. Our hero concentrates great blue energy in his hand. he only managed to seal 2 of the disaster stars. With his power, he sealed Lenink within the giant tsunami. Another star was Master Zen Hank, creator of earthquakes. He was also sealed by our hero in April of the year 3760. Then in May, he sealed Tian Taisui, the active volcano in the lava pool. Liu Liu, the devouring swamp, was sealed in August the following year. Soon after, the ancestor of the mortal plague was imprisoned in a golden cube. One by one, he sealed all 12 disaster stars. However, with the death of Lin Potion, one of the seals broke. The demonic magic that maintained the seals lost its owner and vanished. Because of this, the ice prison of Lenink began to crumble. She finally breaks free from her frozen prison. Soon, all the other seals of the stars also shattered. Liu Liu, who was sealed in the swamp, also managed to escape. Master Zen Hank breaks the chains that bound, and so all 12 disaster stars of natural disaster became free once more. Back in the afterlife, the baby says they were lucky. He then grabs the staff and begins collecting his memories and powers back. A red explosion of energy sends King Yanluo flying. King Yanluo is shocked and cannot believe what is happening. Then, with great strength, the baby begins to pull the beam back. With a final tug, he manages to rip the needle from his forehead. Yanluo is irritated, but then remembers a crucial detail. Half of the boy's power was used to seal the 2 stars. He shouts for Lin Potion to stop being arrogant and look at himself. His baby body cannot handle so much magical power at once. Before he removes the needle, he will consume himself completely. The king shouts that his past life is over and he should accept it. However, the baby makes a face of pure fury and refuses to give up. An explosion of power bursts from him in many different colors, and all this energy concentrates into a very bright ball of light. Our protagonist says he will never accept his fate. He reminds Yanluo that, according to legends, he only oversees reincarnation because the gods have their tasks clearly divided. Therefore, Yanluo cannot interfere in the affairs of the living world. Thus, our hero will scatter his power cores throughout the world. When he grows up, his memories will guide him to recover his power. Moreover, he doesn't believe he was reborn as the enemy's son by coincidence. Finally, he promises to settle the score with King Yanluo himself. The baby then scatters all his power cores across the world. Meanwhile, King Yanluo only watches the comets of energy flying everywhere. People fight to seize one of these powers for themselves. One boy even shouts for his brother, who chased after one of the comets. An official celebrates, thinking he will now be the strongest. That night, the demons saw the cores crossing the sky. They looked at the lights that once belonged to Lin Potion. Everyone stood still, not understanding what was happening. Soon after, the population realized the sad and unacceptable reality. And Muku, our hero's disciple, screams in despair for his master, for their great hero had fallen and his power fell to the earth. In the afterlife, King Yanluo continues watching everything from afar. He looks at the baby on the ground and says the boy was incredible. Our protagonist is exhausted and his eyelids grow heavy. His consciousness weakens and his past life memories fade. Soon he closes his eyes and seems to have finally lost the fight. Nearby, his new mother Zairui is fallen but still conscious. She then crawls with difficulty across the dusty ground. With a frightening smile, she stretches her hand to grab her son. With a gaze of pure malice, she finally reaches the baby. The baby thinks he is forgetting the woman's face, but it doesn't matter. When he grows up, he will recover everything and she will pay for what she did. Meanwhile, the soldiers don't understand the explosion and just want to survive. But suddenly, Muku appears, crying and screaming for vengeance. He attacks the soldiers with his magic, and one of them tells Zairui to flee. With his thorn whip, he punishes all the enemies around. The boy then wipes out all the troops still at the location. Our protagonist recognizes his disciple and is surprised by his arrival. Muku charges with his whip toward Zairui and the baby. Our boy worries, because Muku won't be able to reincarnate again. Suddenly, the whip turns against Muku and binds him tight. The attack also hits Zairui, who curses the baby with hatred in her eyes. Muku is trapped in his own thorns and writhes in pain. Even suffering, he continues with a determined and furious gaze. He remembers his master teaching him not to hurt the weak. Lin Potion also advised him never to become like the humans. Back in the present, Muku screams in pain in his final moment, and his body is completely destroyed by his own magic. Our protagonist watches helplessly, unable to aid. With a malicious smile, Zairui uses an escape talisman to get away. A great explosion occurs on the ground where Muku was, and only the remains of his thorn whip are left at the site. Muku then looks at the hole and realizes it's all over. He stands alone in the middle of the battlefield, desolate and sad. The boy cries for having lost his master and his parents with the death of Lin Potion. Demons propose peace to the humans. However, humanity does not accept and begins a counterattack. But our hero had already prepared a response for this. He injected all his remaining power into the celestial guardian dragon. The dragon then reaches its maximum size with immense power. The creature dives into the earth and causes a great tremor. The ground around the demon's capital begins to crack, and suddenly a giant dragon emerges from the depths of the sea. Demons are frightened by the creature's appearance, and the entire capital begins to lift from the ground. With its strength, the dragon carries the city into the sky. It coils around the city and carries it far away, placing chunks of earth on its back like a boat. The city now floats in the sky on top of the dragon. The The dragon then flies into space with the city on its back. Forest animals watch the dragon pass in the sky. It flies majestically over the ocean with the city on its back. The celestial dragon roars with power, showing its might. Following Lin Potion's final wish, it carried away the 4 greatest demon cities. Thus, the demon race gained a chance to breathe and recover, and the 3-year counterattack led by Lin Potion failed. The war between the 2 races then enters a new chapter, and our protagonist is reborn as a cute and innocent baby. His mother, Zairui, watches him with affection and finds him adorable. The baby then holds her hand and she melts with love. With a smile, she thinks in that moment she has only one desire. She will protect her son for his entire life, no matter what. And so, time passes in the snowy summer palace. Zairui walks alone through the snow on a cold, dark night. She wonders why it's snowing and feels very lonely, as all the guards and nannies went home for the new year. Suddenly, a child appears in the snow and calls for her. Our hero, now a little boy, runs to hug his mother. She scolds him for going out in the cold and for not tending to the stove. Our protagonist falls silent and seems sad at the scolding. He then holds a pot of hot water with a smile on his face. He has a container that keeps the drink warm for his mother. The boy offers sugar water to Zairui in the middle of the snow. She worries about the fire at home and questions him about it. The little boy apologizes, saying he only wanted her to be happy to see him. A man explains the boy ran home 3 times to keep the water warm. The footprints in the snow show all the effort he made. Zairui is moved and laughs, saying he left her speechless. She asks why he didn't just wait at home, and he says it's different. With the pot in her hands, she smiles fondly at her son's gesture. He is happy she drank it all and asks about a head on the ground. The story shows a flashback of him admiring his mother in her laboratory. In another memory, they eat together and he says it's the best. Our boy says he wants to marry her, and Zairui laughs at the situation. The servant calls them perverts while the mother continues to laugh. The scene changes to an amusement park with a Ferris wheel in the background. The two are having a great time at the top of the ride with big smiles. But a man whips a demon who is forced to spin the Ferris wheel with his strength, and another demon is forced to spit water like a park fountain. Ignoring all this, mother and son slide down happily on a water slide. They then enter a haunted house, and the guide says the monsters are real. She explains they bought demons to be punished for their sins. The guide adds that they don't feel pain and are just acting. After that, mother and son have a blast on a roller coaster and also go down a giant slide with smiles on their faces. Tired out, the two end up taking a nap on the park grass. Later, our protagonist falls off a swing, and his mother runs to help. Zairui then lifts him into the air with a look full of tenderness and love. At night, they watch television together, sitting on the living room floor. The news reports that a demon official named Li Dage staged a coup. Because of this, the demon emperor and his family have become prisoners. Experts say he may persecute the former allies of Lin Potion. The anchor laments that the greatest power of a demon minister has fallen. The news then recalls the case of Lin Potion's family from many years ago. Our boy comments that the entire family was eliminated because of that. He finds it strange that his mother is laughing, and she says even the humans thought it was excessive. That night, Zairui sleeps peacefully under a full moon, but our protagonist is awake with a terrible headache. Suddenly, the next day, he sees a plate of food with a very strange appearance. Zairui asks what's wrong and says it's 5-colored demon meat. Our hero is shocked by the food and can't even touch the chopsticks he's holding. He tells his mother he has no appetite, and that lately he feels very strange. The boy feels he needs to do something important, but can't remember what it is at all. Moreover, he always dreams he is surrounded by the bodies of his clan and his beloved family. His mother Zairui is surprised and asks in an animated tone if he also has a wife. She even questions if he likes the fiancée more than her, and the boy says it's very different. He feels he would be willing to give everything for the girl he can barely remember. A memory surfaces of his fiancée Danu hugging him with great affection and love. Friends around them tease him, saying our hero is all red with embarrassment. The girl smiles and says he likes her while others comment she is the most beautiful. But the good memory turns into a nightmare, and the girl appears trapped in energy wires and bleeding. Back to the present, our boy is in shock to see the coconut in front of him. His fiancée's head floats over the dining table, begging him to save her from that horror. Our protagonist screams in terror and wakes up in the middle of the night, sweating coldly in his mother's arms. Zairui asks him not to scare her, because she only knows how to hurt people, not save them. Suddenly, a mysterious voice says the time has finally come to awaken the ancient power. She can't eat or watch cartoons, and can only dream about the man she loves so much, screaming with hatred. The entity wonders why everyone else can be with the hero except. In the real world, Zairui takes her son to many doctors, but no one knows what he has. One doctor says he can't help. A month later, they go to the Black Marsh. There exists a dark market that sells demon cores and even children of the enemy race. Vendors offer demon organs and bones as if they were normal products. The mother takes the boy to a medical clinic called Kins to try one last time. There, a mysterious doctor looks at the boy and says he already recognizes those strange symptoms. The mysterious doctor reveals that in his past life, our hero was likely from the demon race. Our boy flushes red in his mother's lap and wonders if past lives really exist. Zairui is surprised and says she heard about this from the oldest demon sealer. In the continent's history, some humans claim to be reincarnations of others. They even carried memories, and she thought her old master was just boasting. But since she and her son searched for doctors everywhere with no positive results, she remembered some old events and felt the symptoms were very similar to the reports. That's why she went to her master's hometown to try her luck with the witch doctor. The doctor confirms that ancient texts do speak of this very strange illness. The residual power from his demon past life rejects his current human body. So it's no wonder the boy has symptoms of fever all over his body. The mother is worried the whole time and asks what she can do to solve her son's problem. But the doctor says there is nothing to be done and the boy will pass away within a year at most. Desperate, she asks if there isn't another way. The doctor reveals a very difficult method, because the essence of the boy's illness is the residual will from his past life. As the demon hero sleeps, he has a small glimpse of when he was called Lord Lin. The doctor explains that if he eats demon cores, his body's resistance will decrease. Zairui becomes excited, knowing the cores are the source of power for the demon race. In the past, humans ate them to learn magic, but the method was abandoned later. The villainess celebrates because, with her identity, getting cores is the easiest thing. However, Zairui asks, what does this demonification you mentioned earlier mean? The doctor explains that her son's body and habits will become more and more like those of the enemy race. One day he will become a full member of the demon race and asks if she accepts this. The woman is totally shocked by the revelation and doesn't know what to say or do at that moment. She looks at the specimens in the laboratory as the information weighs on her mind like a rock. With a pale face and cold sweat, Zairui grinds her teeth in pure anguish and total despair. Our boy thinks to himself that he is surely dead now with no salvation left. He knows his mother would never accept a medical treatment plan like that for him. After all, her family and friends were all eliminated by the demon race in the cruel past. Moreover, she became mentally unstable because of it and has 10,001 reasons to abandon. Currently, demons are treated as third-class citizens and wander through human territory. They have almost no rights and are seen merely as livestock for humans to use as they please. No human would spend their fortune buying cores to save the life of a simple pet. And since his mother is young and beautiful, she could simply give birth to another child and forget. The doctor notices her hesitation and suggests she pretend he never said anything. As an important figure, all of humanity would boycott her if her son turned into a demon. Furthermore, she used all her power in the fight against Potion and hasn't fully recovered yet. Without the human government's support, it would be very difficult for her to survive alone in the world. The doctor apologizes for presenting such a confusing plan and says it was his mistake, but Zairui interrupts him and says this is great because it means her son can still be saved. Through clenched teeth, Zairui says this is great because it means her son has a chance. Then she adds that the demon race doesn't matter and that she will take care of her little hero. Even if he is just a blade of grass by the roadside, she promises she will raise him. Our boy cries with emotion upon hearing his mother's words and feels her strong embrace. The witch doctor hurriedly writes the prescription as the news spreads like wildfire. Soon newspapers publish that the son of heroine Zairui is actually a member of the demons. The people do not accept the situation, and the demon-sealing king makes an official announcement. He orders all her titles and honors to be stripped, and that aiding her will be considered treason. In his diary, our hero writes that high-quality cores are rare, and his illness won't wait. Thus, his mother was banished from everything and began selling the family's possessions to survive. The family's situation went from bad to worse, and Zairui became burdened with debts to pay. 2 years pass and the boy's illness improves a little, but they become very poor, with torn clothes and shivering from the cold. The two walk through the snow with nowhere to go now, as their old home was lost, and they wander alone through the harsh winter, holding hands. Our protagonist walks with difficulty through the deep, icy snow, feeling very cold. He asks if Alan can no longer conjure flames to warm them there. Zairui falls silent, and the boy realizes his question was a big mistake. As soon as he questioned that, our hero immediately regretted speaking, because poison-type magical treasures work by using the user's future combat power. His mother already spent everything she had to defeat Lin Potion and to get the cores. Now, his mother is an ordinary person, and our boy knows she can no longer conjure flames. Therefore, he feels guilty for everything and walks hand in hand with her in the heavy snow. Looking at a warm house, he thinks the creator of the world must hate his creation very much, for he created disasters and diseases, while a man expels his mother, who is begging for help. Our protagonist watches from afar as his mother is rejected and shivering in the winter cold. He also curls up because the intense cold freezes him to the bone, and he can't take it anymore. Suddenly, Zairui shouts her son's name with a crazy smile plastered on her face. She opens her arms and shouts about a robot fusion, saying the creator also likes children. Immediately after, the woman hugs her son tightly, trying to warm his body with her own with a smile. She asks if he's warm now and if the cold has disappeared all at once. Moreover, she says she is the strongest demon sealer of all and can do anything. The boy cries, worried about his mother, but believes she is omnipotent, just like the creator. That night, Zairui wakes little Tian with a surprise she brought for her. She shows a warm sweet potato she managed to get for their dinner there. With a shout of joy, the woman says he must be starving and offers the food. explaining she visited several houses and only one family gave the potato after much begging. Our hero, who hasn't eaten for days, hears his mother asking him to eat, but he asks about. Zairui says yes and breaks the potato in two to share with her dear son. She gives him the bigger piece and says she wouldn't let herself go hungry because she needs to take care of him. Finally, the boy eats the warm, fragrant sweet potato while his mother watches with great affection. Suddenly, a figure approaches their shelter with legs all injured and bandaged. It was a young demon boy who says hello and mentions he smelled good food nearby. He bows and begs the woman to share a little of her food with. Zairui stares at the boy and realizes he is part of the hated demon race. Even so, she replies that of course she can share some of her food with the boy, but with a terrifying look, she says he needs to hand over his demon core in exchange. Demon boy laughs, saying it's a joke because he is the one who wishes he had a core right now. If he had one, he could trade it on the black market for a lot of food for his family. That way his sick sister wouldn't have to go hungry anymore. Zairui is left speechless. She asks why he doesn't open his eyes, and the boy says he is a blind and pathetic monster. Hearing this, the boy realizes she is human and asks not to be hit for approaching. The woman is shocked that someone would beat him, and the boy confirms that humans hate them. Being blind, he doesn't know if he's begging from a demon or a human, and that decides his fate. Zairui reflects on the demon race and all she went through because of them before. Meanwhile, our hero thinks surviving in that world is a very difficult task. The demon boy senses an aura and asks if they are also from his race. A chance, the mother answers that she is human, but her baby is part of the demon race. Her expression changes, filled with a profound sadness about the whole situation. Soon tears begin to stream down her face as she thinks about what to do. Finally, she breaks the sweet potato again to share with the hungry boy in the snow. Zairui offers a piece of the sweet potato to the boy and tells him to take it without fear. The boy thanks her profusely and says now he and his sister can live until the next. He says goodbye and wishes her peace, believing good people receive rewards. The woman remembers her teacher saying the same thing and ponders those words. She looks at the starry, snowy sky as a cruel doubt arises in her mind. Alone in her makeshift shelter, Zairui wonders if she really is a good person. In another scene, the Lord begins to cough up blood, and the mother falls into total despair. She shouts at a vendor, not understanding how the money she saved isn't enough. This time she needs a high-level demon core to save her son's life. But the vendor says he has the final word and that she should have some money. The man mocks her for not wanting to pay double the price for her own son's well-being. Zairui says she only needs 3 more cores to cure him once and for all. Then she kneels and begs him to let the debt be paid later, promising to pay everything in the name of the humanity she once saved. The woman cries and pleads for a little compassion. The vendor merely watches from afar as the woman humiliates herself at the door of his fancy shop. To this day, our hero doesn't know what his mother did to convince that man to help, but since that night, the boy's body began to improve significantly. After a while, the two stroll happily through a forest with better, cleaner clothes. They even buy the 5-flower demon meat that our protagonist liked so much. And at the amusement park, Zairui shows her son that the swing is now free. At the park, a little boy cries on the ground while our hero pushes his mother on the swing. Suddenly, Zairui loses her balance and falls face first into the sand, while the boy continues crying. The family's situation improved, and the mother can now get some work in the Black Marsh. She even plans to rent a cheap laboratory soon to refine her son's medicine. However, our protagonist feels very guilty that she sold her old laboratory, so he hugs his mother and cries hard while she asks why he is so sad. Later, Zairui opens a box and shows the purple demon core that glows very bright. Our boy becomes hypnotized by the power emanating from that item and can't look away, with a very strange smile on his face. His mother watches his reaction carefully, then she asks if that could be the demon core of the old hero named Lin Potion. Our protagonist is in doubt if that is really the demonic core of the great hero Lin. Zairui confirms, saying the guy met his end at her hands, so she knows his power all too well. You see, his cores scattered, and one of them simply fell nearby. So she kept it a secret. She explains the hero was incredibly strong, and if her son takes the core, his illness could be cured. With a calm look, the woman tells our protagonist to simply take the item and use it. But our boy falls silent for a moment, thinking about what he will do with all that power. Then he reaches out to take the core, which glows with a sinister purple energy. Suddenly, a breaking news report on the TV shatters the mood and startles our hero. The anchor informs that the last demon city has finally been recaptured by humans. She explains the place is at the highest peak of the continent on the Great Celestial Dragon. And now, with their new aircraft, humans can finally reach the dragon's head. With a bizarre smile, the woman celebrates the war victory with her compatriots, because the chance to invade the demon's last refuge has finally arrived for everyone. The next instant, a blast of red energy fills the screen, showing the battle in full swing. Human soldiers are attacking the demons with their lances and a cavalry charge of violence. One warrior lands a powerful energy punch right in an opponent's chest. Another soldier climbs onto a giant missile, shouting for everyone to advance at full force. And so, a fleet of giant flying ships prepares for the final attack on the city. One soldier climbs a ladder to position himself and begin the invasion of the great dragon. Finally, the creature's eyes fill with fury upon seeing the ships approaching for the fight. Several explosions shake the demon city as the humans continue their attack without mercy. Furious, Tull, the son of the Supreme Regent, complains that years have passed and nothing has changed. Even with the giant territory, the demon race couldn't recover. He shouts that no one with even half of Lin Potion's strength has appeared to save their people. An advisor warns that the humans have broken through the outer wall and are heading for the city center. Meanwhile, in the meeting room, the council discusses that their interests cannot be compromised. One of the regents with a pig-like face becomes furious, shouting that the situation is completely unacceptable. Soon after, another leader asks who the traitor was that sold Lin Potion's information to the enemy. He warns he knows the character of everyone there, and that only the inner circle knew the location. The fourth regent, who has a tiger-like face, says no one expected the humans to be so cruel. He recalls the old hero mentioned, having relatives with talents similar to his power. Moreover, the seventh regent accuses the humans of wiping his entire family off the map just for security. Then, accusations begin to fly, and the second regent is blamed for receiving a promotion after the hero's fall. Tired of the bickering, the Tiger Regent shouts that the old emperor didn't put Lin Potion in power for no reason. The third regent, a rooster-faced man, stands up and asks about the situation of the demon cores. He suggests the warrior elite should hunt down all the cores scattered across the world. However, the sixth regent with a lion's face thinks the idea is terrible and says he doesn't understand politics. The humans know all about Lin Potion's strength and wouldn't leave the cores around without a reason. Moreover, the cores were taken by the 12 disaster stars, and recovering them is practically impossible. Finally, the young empress seated on her ice throne asks if they have any solution. One of the regents complains there is nothing to do and that the princess's father wasted his power. Then, the young empress says she found an old friend who has a plan to save them, but the tiger regent yells at her, warning that the royal family no longer has a chance to turn the tables. He accuses the girl of trying to infiltrate her own people into the council in the middle of the crisis. Immediately, the other leaders say that without Lin Potion, this can be resolved, and she should be punished. With a smile, the Empress reveals that the person she mentioned has a connection to the old hero. The rooster and lion regents ask if some distant relative of the guy survived the massacre. Others question if it's his adopted son, but remember he can't meet with royalty. Suddenly, a flash of bright light floods the meeting room, capturing everyone's attention. The council members are astonished, staring at the door with expressions of surprise and fear, because a feminine silhouette enters the room, leaving all the leaders paralyzed with shock. One of the regents is left gaping, remembering having seen that woman somewhere before. The mysterious woman walks toward the council while the Empress watches from afar. In a flashback, we see our hero and his fiancée wishing the nobles a happy new year. Then it clicks for the council. That is Danu, Lin Potion's fiancée, whom everyone thought had passed away. The lion regent screams desperately, asking if this is the solution the Empress promised. To make matters worse, one of the leaders makes a bad taste joke about her relationship with the old hero, but Danu responds with a bold question, leaving the old man completely speechless. The pig regent says she is the #1 woman and could be used as the greatest war trophy. Suddenly, the council table is hit by several energy rays and explodes violently. The regents unite to attack Danu, trying to hand her over to the humans as a gift, but the woman remains silent, merely observing the greed of the leaders who govern her people. With a quick movement, she uses a red energy thread to prepare for combat. Then the woman launches her attack with a determined look, showing she will not retreat. The energy thread shoots out of the palace, cutting through the air toward the wall protecting the city. It spreads throughout the courtyard, proving the hero's fiancé is extremely powerful. The attack hits the watchtower, blowing everything apart with surprising force. Soon after, several red energy threads slice through the wall and destroy the gate. The human soldiers, advancing with their jet boots, are caught completely off guard. The explosion sweeps across the battlefield, showing the tide of battle had finally begun to turn. After going to the area, Danu retracts her thread and asks if they can talk now. The tiger and pig regents are terrified, hiding behind each other in pure horror. With a serious look, the woman reveals the old hero left one of his demon cores with. The leaders are left gaping at the news and can't believe what they just heard. The young empress smiles, saying she expected no less from her guest. In a flashback, the people comment that Lin Potion even dismissed the princess for his fiancé. The little empress looks forward with an expression of admiration and a pinch of jealousy, because on that day she, who always wanted to be by the hero's side, had to swallow her pride. And Danu, the one she envied so much, kneels before her to pay her respects. Finally, the hero's fiancé appears with a plan to save everyone and asks for Her Majesty's help. The morning after the hero's fall, the city's residents went to the site to offer aid. One resident shouts that he found Danu alive and calls for help to get her out quickly. Another comments that the survival rate of her family in that massacre was surprisingly high. A doctor says one of Lin Potion's cores fell nearby and may have protected them all. The woman holds the last gift from her beloved, crying with immense pain and longing. With a bruised and bandaged face, Danu refuses to believe he is truly gone. Since his body was never found, she became one of the few who still held onto hope. Alone in the rubble, the young woman cries, calling for her beloved with a completely broken heart. She tells her parents that a great ancient demon also used that technique to escape. Then the woman begs them to let her go after the cores and try to save. Screaming, she says she is his wife and needs to find his body, no matter the cost, right now. The Empress reports that she didn't see Danu for 4 years after that farewell, because the woman traveled through human territory to gather all the information she could. Moreover, the hero's cores followed his wishes, ending up in his most cherished places. The young Empress watches from afar, knowing that the stronger the core, the harder it is to refine. Even the greatest demonic master would need a gigantic effort to control that power. And when Danu left, she was just an ordinary citizen with 0 combat strength. Now the woman has returned far stronger and more powerful than anyone could have imagined. The little Empress wonders what the woman went through all those years to change so drastically. Finally, Danu reaffirms that the hero left one of his cores with her for protection. The pig-faced regent is completely shocked, screaming in surprise at Danu's revelation. Soon after, 2 leaders invite the woman inside and ask someone to bring a special document. In the middle of the city, people shout and point to the sky as the council meeting is broadcast. The council members take their seats, preparing to hear the woman's plan. The crowd doesn't understand why they are holding a meeting at such a critical time. One of the regents holds a magic mirror that shows the entire meeting room to the public. Dan explains that her identity cannot be revealed, which is why she is wearing a hat. She also says the situation is urgent, and her proposal needs to be executed immediately. One leader asks what her plan is to save the demon race from annihilation. The woman replies that the method is simple. In 15 minutes, they will drop the floating city. The impact will crush the human capital, and the demonic power will shatter the tectonic plates. That way, the entire demon race will perish, along with over 80% of humans. The people watching the broadcast are shocked, calling the woman insane for having such a plan. They also complain that the meeting is being broadcast at such a delicate time. In the council, the leaders begin to argue, and chaos erupts in the meeting room. One regent even lights a cigarette in the middle of the fight to try to calm down. The lion regent and his companion argue, trading accusations about the current situation. Suddenly, the rooster-faced leader punches the table, shouting that the idea is complete nonsense. He turns to Danu and starts cursing her, but is interrupted by one of his colleagues. With a smirk, the leader named Doli says the woman's proposal is actually very good. Doli realizes the woman's plan is just a threat to force the humans to retreat. Danu praises the regent's intelligence, saying they have good political sense. In the crowd, people begin to talk about the possibility of a peace treaty with their enemies, but Doli explains they tried to communicate with the celestial dragon for many years. However, the giant creature never paid them any attention and doesn't follow any orders. The woman says that's exactly why she is here and that the dragon is the key to everything now. The creature is the personification of the hero's core and only obeys his demonic power. Even with 2 cores, she can only use 30% of its total power. The people watching the broadcast are shocked by this revelation, calling the woman a genius. She explains the dragon won't be impressed by her power alone and needs the council's help. That's why she wants royal authority to force the warriors and priests to lend her their strength. Thus, she will gather the power of the entire race and channel it into herself to control the dragon. With their combined strength, she can finally give orders to the creature and turn the tide. And after the attack, no human government will simply accept the result of mass destruction. So Danu says they just need to be brave and leave the rest of the plan to her. But the crowd complains this is just a gamble and the humans might seek revenge. The woman agrees it is a gamble, but claims she has a 70% chance of success. Then she gives the people 2 options: choose her gamble or the certainty of defeat. The crowd falls silent, thinking about what they will do next in this difficult situation. Suddenly, one of the demons raises his fist and shouts that they must fight the human. People shout that it doesn't matter if there's no peace treaty, because they will be wiped off the map anyway. Moreover, they are tired of being oppressed by humans and want to fight to the end. The defeated soldiers stand up and say they will follow the orders of the woman in red. And so the entire demon race unites, shouting they will fight the humans with everything they have. One council member stands and shouts that they must fight, but Danu silences him. Leader Doli finds the plan interesting, saying it's been a while since he's seen something so bold. He asks the speaker to begin the vote that will decide their future. The speaker adjusts his glasses and starts counting the votes for the woman's current plan. He asks those against to raise their hands, and Leader Doli is the first to do so. The people watching the broadcast are tense, anxiously awaiting the voting result. The speaker counts the votes and announces the result, 699 to 1. With the majority of votes against Danu's plan, her proposal is completely rejected. The woman is in shock, not understanding how her idea was shot down so easily. The speaker repeats the result, confirming the current bill will not be approved by the council. The crowd becomes furious, not understanding why they won't bet on a chance at victory. With a serious look, Danu says they have no reason to refuse her proposal. Leader Doli calls her a genius for having such a good plan in a situation like this, but he reveals the fate of the demon race has nothing to do with the council members. The nobles can simply pay taxes to the humans and obtain immunity for their families. He then informs the poor masses that to the humans, they aren't even worth fertilizer, because their financial situation traps them forever in the demon race, leaving them no choice. And with no other option, common people always think of protecting and fighting for their own. Leader Doli concludes by saying the poor love their nation, while the rich choose theirs. Danu questions why the elite would risk a 30% chance of being eliminated. The council members agree the risk is too high and not worth it for them. With a cigarette in his mouth, Doli states their mortality rate will always be 0%. He criticizes the woman for thinking she can change the world with a little power and strategy. The other leaders complain it is they who pay the taxes to fund the wars. With a serious look, Dan realizes strategy and passion alone will get her nowhere. The leader calls her an idiot, just like her fiancé, and says his end was already sealed. From the moment the hero became strong and decided to restore the demon's glory, his fate was written. He also tells her not to hate them, because the entire noble class of their race wanted him out of the way, and even if they hadn't acted, the other council members would have taken care of. Feeling a tinge of pity for the woman, the leader advises her to think carefully before presenting a plan there, because in a way, that meeting room can be more dangerous than the human army. Danu remains silent as the smoke from Doli's cigarette rises in the tense air. He asks if she has another plan, and then immediately says it's better to just accept reality. Then the leader stands and suggests everyone organize their finances for what is to come. Finally, he ends the meeting, and the broadcast is cut, leaving the people in total despair. People scream that the hero was betrayed by his own leaders, and they are all doomed now. Suddenly, an explosion hits the wall, protecting the demon city squarely. The impact opens a giant hole in the wall, and dust rises high into the dark night. The residents scream in terror, telling everyone to run because the humans are invading. Soon after, an army of soldiers in white and blue armor advances through the city. Human warriors attack civilians with their energy weapons, showing not the slightest mercy. The massacre begins, and demons are cut down one by one, with no chance to defend themselves. The city plunges into chaos, and the residents scream for help as they try to survive the attack. With a serious look, Danu tells everyone to wait a minute because she isn't finished yet. She says the meeting isn't over and she has a new plan to present to the council. With a confident smile, the woman asks if the leaders would like to hear her new proposal. The council members are surprised, wondering if she really has another plan up her sleeve. One leader tells her to spit it out, hoping it isn't something impossible to approve. Danu says she also didn't want to come to this point, but now it's time to radicalize. Then she presents her first condition, a full pardon for all her war crimes. The regents mock her, saying everyone who gains power wants to use it for personal gain. The second condition is that the entire demon race must cooperate with the plan to attack the humans. Leader Doli is confused and asks what her objective is with all these demands. Finally, the third condition. She will take half of each council member's assets for the war effort. One leader becomes angry, shouts that he's already tired of this woman, and attacks. The Tiger Regent yells that the woman is wasting their time and tells her to go to hell. Suddenly, several red energy threads cut through the air, striking all the council members. With a serious look, Dan asks if anyone who opposes her plan can raise their hand now. She waits for a response as the leaders fall one by one, with no chance to react to the attack. A moment later, the woman announces that, since no one opposed, the proposal was approved by all. She orders the speaker to announce the result and start the operation immediately. With a score of 0 to 700, the woman confirms the new plan was accepted unanimously. Her eyes glow with green energy as she takes total control of the situation. All council members have been eliminated, and the meeting room is covered in red. Leader Doli crawls on the floor, unable to believe she had the courage to do that. Danu compliments his power, surprised he managed to survive her attack. She reminds him that he himself said this room was more dangerous than the enemy army. With a smirk, the woman says she also agrees with the statement he made before the fight, because the humans wouldn't eliminate her, but she wouldn't show the same mercy to her opponents. With a look of pure hatred, the woman warns she will end him here and now. Doli screams in pain as she squeezes harder, wanting to end it quickly. He curses her, saying he is the #1 noble and she can't do this to him. He also warns that if she eliminates him, the entire noble class will turn against her in the war, because the laws and media will hunt her, and even the people will hate her for this betrayal. But Danu doesn't care, and the leader screams in agony as she squeezes his neck. Doli becomes desperate and begs the woman to spare his life for the hero's sake. He even offers to make her his concubine, saying he doesn't mind that she's a widow. But the man corrects himself, calling her a noble princess and begging not to be eliminated. With a cold look, Danu says her beloved is not gone and that he can try again in his next life. She tells him never to call her a widow again and squeezes his head with immense force. Suddenly, a loud impact sound echoes through the room. Alone in the hall, the woman says aloud that she knows her beloved is still alive somewhere, and with shining eyes, she promises she will deliver the entire demon race to him. Then, showing sharp teeth, the woman screams and summons the small celestial dragon with all her strength. A moment later, a giant dragon with green flames appears in the sky, urging everyone to listen. In the year 3768, a new law was added to the council. The demons threatened the humans with mutual destruction to force a peace agreement. But the human race only agreed to talk when the dragon approached their capital. And so the two races finally reached a brief period of peace after so much war. In a flashback, our boy appears on the floor, trembling with fever and looking very ill. His mother, Zairui, holds him in a panic, seeing her son is burning up. In the year 3767, a man said he was a demon in a past life. Years later, in March of 3771, his mother still cares for him with tenderness. In December of 3774, the boy seems to be draining his mother's life. Back in the present, our protagonist prepares to take the purple demonic core. In the year 3775, our boy stares fixedly at the purple core. His mother, Zairui, gives him a very strange and mysterious smile. The protagonist asks if that is really the hero's core, and she nods in confirmation. Moreover, the woman reveals that Lin Potion met his end at her hands and that she knew him well because his cores scattered and one of them fell nearby, so she kept it a secret. She says it was a top-tier item, and it would be a waste to use it only for research. Zairui explains she didn't give him the core before because its power was too much for his body to handle. But now that he has consumed many cores, our hero can finally withstand the energy. And with the item's power, the illness that tormented him for years will finally be cured. She also tells him this specific core was located in the hero's brain and may contain his memories. Thus, he may find clues about the extermination case from his past life as a demon. And with a bit of luck, our protagonist might even remember who his enemies were. With a calm look, the woman tells our boy to take the item and use it now. But the young man falls silent for a moment, thinking about what he will do with that power. Then he reaches out to take the core, which glows with a sinister purple energy. Suddenly, breaking news on the TV shatters the mood and startles our hero. The anchor informs that the last demon city has surrendered to them once again, and she celebrates that the chance to invade the enemy's last refuge has finally arrived. Finding the news too loud, Zairui grabs the remote to turn off the TV. Finally, the room falls silent again, and our boy's decision is still up in the air. Zairui tells our boy to eat the core and finally be rid of his illness. Without thinking twice, our protagonist tosses the item into his mouth and swallows it. Immediately, he feels the energy of the purple core spreading through his chest. His mother asks if he is feeling better and if he has remembered anything. Suddenly, our hero's eyes widen, and he freezes in a state of shock. The woman is also startled by her son's unexpected reaction after eating the item. With a hand to his head, the boy seems to feel intense pain and is dazed. But soon after, he says nothing happened and he doesn't remember anything new. Our hero even jokes that his childhood fever might have fried his brain. His mother raises the possibility that the hero may have stored his memories in another demonic core. The boy complains they could have sold the item to avoid so much hardship. She hands him a drink and says she has things to do and needs to leave. She also tells him to rest well because the core consumes a lot of energy. The door closes, and our protagonist is left alone in the dark room, thinking about life. After a while, he gets up and begins writing in a diary about what happened. And as he drinks his beverage, he remembers everything his mother did for him in the past. Suddenly, a memory of him and his mother playing in the grass passes through his mind. Soon after, he sees the image of a man being tortured with green vines. Then, he remembers when he was a child drawing while his mother worked. Finally, several memories from his past life as a demon flood his mind all at once. A whirlwind of memories invades our hero's mind in one go. He then remembers the exact moment of his end at the hands of a pregnant Zairui. His body trembling with rage, our protagonist squeezes the cup tightly, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. Finally, he remembers everything and screams the name of the woman who betrayed Zairui. Back in the room, our boy coughs up blood while writing in his diary. The coughing fit is so strong he can barely stay seated in the chair. He ends up staining the entire notebook with blood, and his hand won't stop trembling. Fallen on the floor, he writhes in pain, remembering everything that happened. It turns out the demonic core now rejects his body with even greater force. The pain is so intense our hero ends up passing out right there on the floor. Soon after, his mother Zairui enters and calls for Tian, desperate upon seeing the scene. She doesn't understand how the illness returned and wonders what went wrong. Her eyes are then drawn to the blood-stained diary on the table. The hero approaches the notebook slowly with a curious look. Carefully, Zairui picks up the diary her son was writing in before, and with an expression of fear, opens the notebook to see what's inside. One page says he grew up, and his mother said the treatment was ending, but the next page is all torn and stained with blood. A day later, we see the two sleeping in the same bed, side by side. Our hero is actually awake and watches his mother with a cold look. He confirms she isn't moving at all, so he concludes she is asleep. The boy thinks his recent injuries have almost completely healed. Moreover, he reflects that if he doesn't get too emotional, everything will be fine. Then, holding a rope, he reveals he can't wait any longer to finish her off. He knows he can't beat her head on, so he'll take her by surprise. With eyes blazing with hatred, he lunges with the rope, screaming for her to die. But as he pulls the rope, he feels a strange resistance and becomes very confused. He doesn't understand what's happening, and his eyes widen in surprise. Then the boy notices the protective amulet glowing on his mother's chest. He remembers this type of item nullifies external force even when the wearer is unconscious. And with tensions between humans and demons, it's normal for her to be protecting herself. Realizing his plan failed, he decides to look for another chance to act. Our hero then goes back to bed and lies down as if nothing happened. He closes his eyes, pretending to sleep while his mind works on a new plan. The boy falls silent for a moment, thinking about his next steps. He had been awake the whole time and now cries silently in bed. Meanwhile, the newspapers announce that a new war is about to begin. In the streets, a boy sells newspapers shouting about the approaching conflict. But people seem not to care and enjoy themselves in a busy restaurant. Two friends even jokingly argue about who took all the demon meat. Someone then pours a spicy red sauce into the pot to season the meat. One of them eats it all with such gusto that his friend jokes he is a demon. The hot pot continues bubbling, full of delicious food. Observing the scene, our protagonist says he is ready for what's to come. He then states the white broth is his, as always. Zairui says the red, spicy broth is for our hero Tian. She also comments he isn't like other people and always liked spice. Soon after, the owner of the place appears and recognizes them, talking about a promotion. Then the woman takes the chance to warn that they might move to another province. The owner wonders why they would leave like that, and if it's because of the boys' school. Our protagonist says there are many reasons, but one of them is important. His mother explains that their province might go to war with the demons. The lady is confused and mentions the peace treaty signed years ago, but the province's leader is Queen Ming, who wants to expand her army for war. And with the new spiritual ore, their power has grown suddenly. Because of this, Zairui advises the owner to leave the city as soon as possible. However, the lady doesn't want to move and says these war rumors are old. She says she can't move every time, and the woman says the decision is hers. Our hero then becomes interested in the restaurant's membership card, and Zairui remembers the first time they went there on her son's birthday. Back then, she was the only one who didn't complain about their dirty, torn clothes, and the portions of food at their table were always larger than others. So she says her memory is weak, and the card will help her not forget. The woman even jokes she will report her if she doesn't accept the money, and the owner, Mrs. Said, returns to work, bidding them farewell with a smile. Our hero thinks Zairui was right about the war, as her instincts are sharp. He then wonders if he should praise the woman for being worthy of having defeated. The boy realizes he needs to speed up his plans, because the demons won't protect themselves. Before returning to his old home, he has a very clear goal. With a look full of hatred, he swears to himself that he needs to finish her off first. Suddenly, changing his tone, he calls for his mother and says he is old enough now. Therefore, he asks her to teach him how to use the magical artifacts that exist, and with a determined look, he also wants to learn how to break these artifacts. The woman falls silent for an instant, merely holding her chopsticks. She observes for a moment, processing her son's unexpected request. Then, with a strange smile on her face, she finally agrees to the request. They then continue the meal in a tense and uncomfortable silence. Zairui says she will start teaching him starting the next day, with a sinister look in her eye. The scene changes and shows the mascot of the Province of Light giving a welcome. Shortly after, a man holds a magic mirror that shines intensely, and a blue energy chain is shown being held firmly. The image reveals a man with a golden aura and a serious expression. He is in the Prism Palace, the administrative center of the Province of Light. This is Queen Ming, and he asks about the situation while holding a hostage. His subordinates then inform him that the province has discovered an immortal ore deposit. Furthermore, he recalls that the woman in red saved the demon race in the past. But General Vermilion Gyro explains that her prestige faded with the peace. He adds that the demons have grown complacent and don't expect a new war. Queen Ming hears that demon enlistment numbers have dropped drastically, and because of this, their combat power is the weakest it's been in the last 5 years. Then the White Tiger General suggests waiting a few years before attack. He thinks it's better to wait until the demon race becomes even weaker. But Queen Ming's son, Kenner, questions his uncle's thinking. He explains that the humans have also grown comfortable with the current status quo, and the shadow of near destruction is fading from humanity's memory. Proof of this is that the desire to wipe out the demons has fallen from 99% to 78%. Kenner warns that their faction alone isn't enough to start a war. He suggests rallying the power of all the human provinces as they did before. At the very least, they need to consolidate all the power within their own province. Queen Ming complains that his compatriots are being numbed by the demons, and as long as they aren't eliminated, there will always be the risk of another Lin potion. Therefore, he believes humans need a fire to reawaken their hatred. With a determined look, he declares he will be the one to light that flame. To this end, he orders his son to make the military preparations while he unites humanity. The demon girl despairs as she is used as a kind of footrest. Queen Ming even asks her if his footrest is soft enough. She screams desperately, begging him to stop, and says he is very comfortable. Then he uses a light attack and finishes the girl off in an instant. Soon after, his son Kenner appears and refers to him as Queen Mother. His subordinates are completely shocked by that bizarre scene. Queen Ming merely observes the result of his cruel act without showing remorse. The scene changes to a spiritual plaque in honor of Ken Babel. It turns out this plaque is for his dear eldest son. He He explains that 5 years ago, his son was captured by demon scavengers. Because of this, his hatred for the demon race goes far beyond normal, as his personal vengeance for his son's loss is what truly drives him. Vermilion Gyro complains that the human emperor did nothing about the case. With a heart full of pain, Queen Ming cries out for his good son. Ever since, he names a demon queen every day only to eliminate them. This sick way of honoring his son and venting all his rage. And as of today, the count has reached exactly 1,800 queens. But for Queen Ming, this is still nowhere near enough. 1 month later, we see the great celestial dragon flying in the night sky, for the entire dragon continent still remains to be conquered. Back at the restaurant, our hero asks his mother to teach him to use artifacts, and with a serious look, he also wants to learn the method to break them. The woman, surprisingly, simply says okay and accepts the request. She then says she will start teaching him the next morning. Thus, the next day, the training begins and the boy releases a power. From inside a box, a purple smoke begins to seep out slowly. It seems that having inherited her genes, he learns everything very quick. Power then heads toward a hamster that was nearby in its cage. The little animal simply faints on the spot as the purple energy hits it. Our boy is surprised and celebrates that this time everything worked. Shortly after, with a touch, he undoes the spell that was on the box. The hamster then wakes up frightened, not understanding what happened, and so he quickly mastered the methods of controlling and breaking artifacts. Later, he uses what he learned on his mother. While she sleeps in bed, her body's protective curse weakens a bit with his touch. Fortunately, defensive curses aren't her specialty, and he needs time, and when that day comes, he swears she will be finished. The scene shifts to a memory, raw and painful, where the weight of the world wasn't on a demon king's shoulders, but on a son's heart. From that night on, Shuri began to speak much less, and her accident rate in experiments increased greatly, the distracted scientist trope. Sometimes, while cleaning the house, the woman would suddenly start staring into space, completely lost. In her hands, she held a pair of baby shoes with a blank and very distant expression, the ultimate mom glitch moment. The frequency with which she went out to hunt for demonic cores also increased, and she would be gone for longer periods. The young man questions why he didn't notice any of that at the time and watches her leave from a distance. With a quick gesture, the boy releases his power and manages to break a talisman with a protective barrier. He is satisfied because now he can dissipate most of the protection without much effort. But he knows that it is just a disposable talisman, and that to break the real one, he will need external help, the DLC boss shield. With the power of his old core, he is sure it's enough to attack her by surprise while she sleeps. But the young man knows that humans with combat experience are extremely alert to the flow of demonic power. Thus, he is sure that Shuri will wake up the moment he activates his demonic power. Because of this, our protagonist decides he needs to use a power that belongs to a human, a magical treasure, the use the system against itself logic. Seizing the moment, he tells his mother that he wants a magical treasure just for himself, and the woman gets excited. My kid wants a hobby parent joy. The boy complains that there are many fakes on the market and asks if she knows any reliable sources. The woman agrees and explains that a magical treasure's compatibility cannot be transferred to another person. With that, she says it's time to find a magical treasure suitable for her son's abilities. Completely excited, the woman celebrates that her little Ten will finally have his own magical treasure, treating it like his first car. Our protagonist thinks that he didn't want to ask her for help, but she is the only reliable demon sealer he knows. Thus, the two go to a dark place called Black Swamp Corner in search of the perfect item. He complains that she didn't need to bring him personally, but the woman replies that she couldn't do that at all. With a smile, the woman explains that her magical treasure was also personally chosen by her parents. The young man reflects that making her choose the weapon that will eliminate her is crossing the line, but that it counts as a warning, the ultimate emotional guilt trip. From there, the two arrive at a shop called Sister Cho's Magical Treasures to finally find the item. Inside, the woman asks if anyone is there, while a girl with cat ears rests peacefully on a bench. Lying on a bench, the shop owner plays mahjong and notices there's a new customer in the house. She's in the middle of a very intense game with some strange creatures and seems super focused. With a lollipop in her mouth, the woman named Cho stares at them without showing much interest in their visit. The I'm on my break energy. From there, she tells them to come back the next day because the shop is already closed to the public. Sarcastically, the young woman warns that if they don't leave soon, they'll have to spend the night there with. But suddenly, the shop owner turns around surprised, as it seems she recognized the woman with the boy. Shuri shouts the young woman's name, calling her little Cho, and runs towards her all excited. With that, the shop owner jumps in surprise and shouts little Shuri's name, not believing what she's seeing. Thus, the two hug tightly and our protagonist realizes they already knew each other, the small world trope. Cho asks if the boy is her precious treasure, and the woman confirms that he is old enough for an item. The shop owner approaches and compliments the young man's beauty, saying he is there to find his treasure. Shuri says she is a regular customer and will leave her son there with her while she takes a walk around the city. The woman sighs and says that looking at him reminds her of when little Shuri first came to the shop. With a smile, she calls him closer and says that Auntie will choose a special treasure just for him. Then the woman goes to a wall full of drawers and opens one of them to start the search for the item, the ultimate magical junk drawer. The woman shows a flame bracelet made with immortal ore from the Red Fusion Island. She explains that the item converts spiritual power into fire and puts it on our protagonist's wrist. With that, the shop owner asks him to try to hit her, but the boy asks if it won't hurt. From there, our protagonist prepares for the attack, his fist covered in the item's flames. He attacks, but the fireball hits the floor and burns the wood without even getting close to her. Our protagonist is surprised and confused because the attack didn't go in the direction he intended, the wonky controls of a new item. Cho says the treasure doesn't suit him because the spiritual power didn't follow his will. The boy apologizes embarrassed, and she says it's okay because the shop's floor wasn't worth much. Without wasting time, the woman grabs another mysterious box from the shop's wall of drawers. She reveals a blue thunder bell made of immortal ore that can summon the power of light. He thinks about the ranks of immortal ore and realizes that this is already a pretty decent treasure. Upon ringing the bell, a gigantic lightning bolt falls from the ceiling and hits the floor with absurd force. With that, he apologizes again and says it seems that one doesn't work for him either, the item failing the vibe check. The woman calls him little baby and asks him to come a little closer to her to continue with a smile on her face and a determined look. Cho seems to have finally had a good idea. With a quick gesture, Cho ruffles our protagonist's hair with her hand. She touches the lollipop to his forehead and says she's not going to play with the young man anymore. Soon after, the woman goes back to licking her lollipop with a very different look. The shop owner stares at him with a mysterious and slightly scary smile on her face. With a sinister chuckle, she seems to have found the perfect solution for the boy. From there, the woman starts to laugh maniacally while squeezing her little creature. She runs around the shop laughing, and her strange creatures follow her in a chaotic mess, the eccentric shopkeeper bit. Suddenly, she stops and shows a short blade forged with local immortal ore. The young woman says the blacksmith raised the price, claiming the handle material had run out. Because of this, the customer cut off his arm to make the handle, and the blade hasn't sold in 10 years. But she guarantees the quality is top. Cho tells him to try the cursed weapon. Hesitantly, our protagonist holds the blade, which seems to bend in his hand. At that moment, a red energy starts to emanate from the weapon and runs up the boy's arm. The young man's eyes widen in complete shock at the sensation of that power. An image of his past life emerges, and he feels a deep connection with the dark blade, the "this is my main" feeling. Cho says that from his expression, they have found the right direction, and our protagonist agrees that swords feel familiar. With that, he mentally confirms that the type of weapon is correct, but it seems something is still missing. The young man thinks with a serious look that a magical treasure of that level is not enough to take out Shirui. Meanwhile, the shop owner sends a message to little Shirui without him noticing anything. She turns and confirms to our protagonist that his true talent lies in blade-type treasure. Sincerely, the boy says he feels that treasure is not very powerful, and the young woman is a little surprised. From there, he points upwards and asks if he can try the sword hanging high above everyone. The black sword with red details glows intensely, and Cho seems a bit hesitant with the choice. Sitting with her pet, the woman says he still doesn't understand much about magical treasure. He replies that in his current memories, she didn't teach him and explains that high-level items amplify power. The young man continues the explanation, saying that other factors affect a treasure's power release. With a smile, the shop owner reveals to the boy that they call this factor the compatibility value. Our protagonist is confused by the term, and Cho says she will explain it with a very simple formula. The young woman explains that the item's rank multiplied by compatibility and spiritual power gives the final effect. Thus, he understands that every detail has a great influence on the result, and she confirms that he is right. Our protagonist asks if the more he uses the weapon, the greater the compatibility will be, and the young woman confirms with a lollipop in her mouth. And the longer it takes to increase compatibility. The woman says the weapon in his hand has simple circuits, so the compatibility between them will increase very quickly. Although the quality is not as high, the weapon will make him much stronger in a short time. Thus, she guarantees that this is the treasure that will make him strong in the shortest possible time, and he understands, the fast leveling weapon. Suddenly, Cho reveals that her shop specializes in selling apprentice magical treasures. Because of this, the sword he wanted is just a sample, and if he wants the original, he needs to go to another shop. She says that at that level, even his mother would have to work for years and take out loans to buy the item. The young man realizes he could never afford that, and the woman says it's an item worth a lifetime. The young woman reveals that the last batch was all sold to the children of noble families for them to train with. With a sad look, the boy realizes it's not something families like his can have, the pay-to-win reality. Suddenly, the shop owner announces that his mother is back, and the young man turns around very surprised. With tears in his eyes, he starts to cry and calls himself an idiot in his thoughts. In one frame, Shirui appears happy, holding the expensive sword he wanted and a bag of food. The ultimate mom went into debt for this gesture. The scene cuts to the capital of the province of Light, where the crowd celebrates, and a family is proud of their son. But in contrast, a demon settlement lives in a valley of trash and sewage in the middle of nowhere. a streamer appears and says that at his followers' request, he came to the demon race's settlement. On the live stream, he asks the crowd to follow him to see what happens in a place humans don't dare to visit. With that, the young man finds a pot with some kind of food cooking over a makeshift fire. He explains that demons boil bones that humans throw away with moss to eat again. The little demon nearby thinks that he doesn't understand it because the food is full of bacteria and has no nutrients. With a wicked smile, the streamer kicks the pot and says he did it for the demon boy's health. Then, he shows the demon's residences, while the little boy tries to pick up the food from the ground. Sarcastically, he says the pipes are warm in the winter and cool in the summer with good ventilation. The young man shines a light into one of the pipes and finds a demon girl sleeping, but complains about the lack of privacy. Suddenly, the streamer complains that the demonic aura there is so strong that the live stream signal will drop in 5 minutes. With that, he ends the broadcast and taunts the demons who are hiding in fear in the pipes. After everything, the streamer says goodbye to his followers with a smile and ends the live stream. With that, the streamer gets punched so hard that he flies away with no chance to defend himself from the attack. Immediately after, a demon grabs him and says the cleanup is complete while throwing the young man's body into the sewer, the satisfying karma moment. The little demon boy remains on the ground, trying to pick up the food scraps that the streamer dropped earlier. Suddenly, the boy looks to the side and calls out for his majesty. Surprising the guard who was there, a hand holds a bowl of food and asks the boy if that was what he was eating. From there, Empress Kumia and the Empress Dowager Badashi appear staring at the boy. With a smile, the boy recognizes the Empress and asks if she has inherited the throne yet because he saw her on the live stream. Completely excited, he shouts for everyone to come out because the Empress has come to visit them personally. A demon who is cooking over a fire turns around shocked and wonders if it's really the Empress there. Thus, several other demons begin to emerge from the sewer pipes, shouting the Empress's name. A wounded demon runs crying and says it's really her because he recognized her from the wedding newspaper photo. In this way, a crowd of demons gathers before the royal family, moved by the unexpected visit. Far away, Kuning observes the whole scene through a magic mirror with a very satisfied look. One of his officials confirms that their intelligence was correct. While the emperor holds the mirror, the official explains that whenever the continent floats over a province, the princess visits the settlements. Kuning says mockingly that they don't know he has the Ceiling King's 9-turn reincarnation mirror. With the mirror, he can monitor any place in the province and observes the demon empress's visit. An official praises him for having infiltrated and says that the position of chief of the 12 stars should be his, but tells him to stop the small talk and prepare all the relevant personnel for the mission. Before his throne, the emperor announces grimly that their plan is about to begin. Meanwhile, Empress Kumia is shocked by the misery and says she has never seen anything like it. A demon boy explains, crying that they have many expenses and cannot afford anything. Another demon reveals that a glass of water cost 50 in taxes and food is even more expensive. With that, the Empress despairs as she realizes that this is pushing her people to their end. The boy continues saying that from time to time, officials from the royal palace bring food for the children. However, another demon reveals that in exchange, they take the girls with a human-like appearance for a while. The Empress shouts furiously that the peace treaty does not allow them to do such a thing. But a demon boy revolts and shouts back, asking what is the use of that treaty. The crowd becomes enraged and shouts that while the nobles live well, they are starving and freezing down there. Immediately after, someone throws something at the Empress and shouts that her visit is completely useless. One of the guards protects the Empress Dowager Badashi and curses one of the demons in the crowd. The people continue to throw things at Empress Kumia and shout for her to leave. With her head down, the young Empress stares at the dirty ground without showing any reaction. A desperate father scolds his son for shouting instead of finding food for his dying sister. He begs the crowd for some food, saying that this is his last living daughter. With tears in his eyes, the man continues to plead for someone to please save the little girl. Seeing the scene, Kumia asks the guards if they still have food, but the answer is no. Her guards explain that they came in secret and could not bring much for the visit. One of the demons tells the father to accept his fate because things like this happen every day there. Without hesitation, the young empress begins to walk towards the man and his daughter. The father gets angry and shouts, asking if she came just to watch their horror show. With a serious look, Kumia continues to stare at the scene without saying a single word. The people are shocked by the young woman's attitude, and the Empress Dowager calls her by name. From there, the young woman carefully takes the starving little girl into her arms. Immediately after, a bright light appears and the little girl slowly opens her eyes. With the little girl in his arms, the father is shocked and stammers the Empress's name, not believing. Little girl's brother is also completely speechless at the scene he just witnessed. With tears in her eyes, Kumia remembers her father saying that the royal family was the master of the commoner. She explains that the word master does not mean using power to take away the people's benefits. With a choked voice, the young woman says the meaning is to treat every demon as her most precious treasure. From there, the Empress apologizes to everyone and says that everything is her fault due to her incompetence. She shouts that it was her failure that did not allow her people to live and work in complete peace. But the young woman guarantees that she has formed an alliance and that the pro-war faction is recovering. Furthermore, the woman in Red's military school is training a new generation of strong warriors. With a determined look, the Empress swears she will fulfill her father's wish to restore the race. In response to the speech, one of the demons gets excited and shouts with all his might that he supports the Empress. With that, the crowd raises their fists and shouts that their race can indeed rise again and fight. In the Empress's arms, the little girl now has bright eyes and a smile on her face. A demon boy points excitedly and tells everyone to see how much the girl's appearance has improved. The people smile and say that demon children recover their energy quickly and praise the Empress's magic. From there, the demon people begin to applaud and rejoice at the young Empress's words. The Empress Dowager calls her by name and reflects that in the current situation, being Empress is a burden. She thinks that the royal family has lost power and that what little remains is thanks to Dan Yundu's strength. Furthermore, the Empress Dowager laments that every day the young woman has to deal with various influential officials. The woman recalls that the nobles only want her family's power and plan arranged marriages. One of the nobles even dreams of having several children so that his descendants can become royalty. But Kumiya's talent for governing has already been approved by several old and experienced ministers, and she's also a monarch willing to sacrifice herself for her people without a second thought. With a smile, the Empress Dowager says that Kumiya can certainly restore the demon race. Far away, an official tells Kuning that the time to finish off the demons has come, and he asks about the talisman. In a frozen province, two humans look up at the sky, preparing for the broadcast that is about to begin. The official confirms that it is connected, and a large screen shows the scene of the Empress to the entire ice province. The broadcast also reaches the 5th strength province, where giant hand statues rise. In the Blade province, the people also watch the scene of the Empress with her people on a large screen. Suddenly, a blue jellyfish floats in the dark, and when touched by a finger, it glows in an orange hue. From there, the demon people release several glowing jellyfish that float through the sky like lanterns. With the little girl in her arms, Kumiya and her people watch the scene, mesmerized by the beauty of the lights. The valley fills with light and joy as the crowd celebrates the Empress's visit with a grand festival. After a while, the young woman says she needs to go back and faces the little girl's father with a smile. She explains that staying in enemy territory is risky and promises to find a way to send supplies. With that, the Empress prepares to return the child to her father and asks him to raise her well. But suddenly, the father's and the Empress's faces are filled with pure shock and terror at something unexpected. The man holds his daughter's body, which is now lifeless and completely pale, in his arms. Far away, Kuning reveals his plan to show everyone the true face of the demon Empress. With his power, he controls her like a puppet, forcing the young woman to do whatever he wants. Thus, the Empress is forced to attack the little girl in her arms against her will. Seeing the scene, the Empress Dowager Badashi screams her daughter's name. Completely horrified, Kumiya also screams desperately for her mother because she cannot control her own body. One of the guards draws his shining sword to try to prevent the tragedy, but it is too late. Meanwhile, in Little Ten's house, a purple curved blade is surrounded by a powerful fire energy. Our protagonist reflects that, as the shop owner said, the apprentice weapon will make him stronger quickly. Thus, he practices with the magical treasure to increase his combat power as quickly as possible. With this new power, he is sure he can completely break her body protection talisman. Gritting his teeth with hatred, he curses her mentally as his revenge gets closer and closer. But a memory of Shirui arriving happily with the expensive sword confuses him about her attitude. Kneeling in the living room, the young man admits that she is a good mother, but wonders if that really matters now. Crying, he shouts that his mother from his past life never even had the chance to be a real mother to him. The young man reveals that he bought the knife in secret with a 20% interest rate from the shop owner. With that, he swears that after he finishes her off and restores his race, he will take his own life. From the outside, he seems like just a lonely boy, but his mind is full of plans for revenge. With a determined look, he thinks that the day of her return from the hunt is in just 3 days. Holding the weapon firmly, he decides that he will finally execute his plan of revenge on that day. Suddenly, a deafening noise echoes through the house, interrupting his dark plans. The ceiling explodes in a wave of blue energy, and the young man is completely shocked. Not understanding anything, the scene cuts to the guard advancing with his sword to protect the Empress from the unexpected attack. From there, the Empress begins to attack her own people without mercy in an uncontrolled massacre. Crying, she calls them useless, but in her thoughts, the young woman screams for everyone to run away. Being forced to attack, she continues to curse them while begging them to run as fast as possible. With that, her attacks cut through the air and hit several demons who scream in pain. Not understanding, one of the demons shouts that he can barely protect himself and that he feels something is very wrong. But another demon tells him not to think about anything and just run for his life from the Empress. Seeing the scene, the Empress Dowager shouts for them to stop the Empress and evacuate the people with a look full of fury and determination. The woman prepares to contain her daughter and save her people. Immediately, her guards agree and advance to follow the Empress Dowager's orders. Out of control, Kumiya releases a blue energy from her hands to attack the approaching guards. the energy hits the guards head-on and initiates a strange kind of demonic transformation. With that, the guards transform into chimeric demons and scream in pain from the sudden change. One of them is shocked and wonders how the Empress's power became so strong all of a sudden. Far away, Kuning uses his mirror to channel the power of several cores into the young Empress. With her power increased, the Empress continues the attack and unleashes a massive energy blast against everyone. The pink energy blast hits the valley head-on, and the demon people scream in pain from the massive attack. In the midst of the chaos, the demon boy uses his healing core to try to save his wounded little sister. With tears in his eyes, he says he couldn't get food, but that he won't let her go because of an injury. Desperate, the young man shouts at his father and reminds him that his mother asked him to take care of both of them. With that, the father shouts for them to climb up and get out of that cursed valley as quickly as possible. At the top of the cliff, several wooden ladders are the only hope of escape for the demon people. Thus, the crowd runs desperately towards the climbing point to try to survive. Faced with the situation, the Empress Dowager Badashi shouts for her royal guard to resonate with her core. Immediately, one of her guards prepares for battle with a strange energy in his body. A sun symbol appears on his back, and the young man prepares to obey the Empress's order. Another older guard also activates his power, and a golden light begins to shine in his hand. But to everyone's surprise, the guard attacks the Empress with several blasts of golden energy. The blasts merge in the air and form a very complex and bright geometric pattern. From there, the attack transforms into a gigantic energy trap called the Empress's Matrix. With that, the guard shouts for the rat hiding behind the Empress to stop, as he has watched her grow up. He reveals that this is a high-level magic to protect the Empress, and that the barrier cannot be broken. Kumiya continues to attack relentlessly, but the golden barrier prevents her from hurting anyone. The attacks crash against the barrier and dissipate without causing any damage to anyone outside. Far away, Kuning is surprised by the magic's power, and realizes he really can't break it. The Empress Dowager tells her daughter that now is the time for the demon race to develop. With tears in her eyes, the young woman says she knows how much her mother loves the race and has worked for it. Faced with the situation, the Empress Dowager swears she will not let anyone harm her daughter and her people. Kuning gets angry and decides to control the Empress Dowager to attack the golden energy barrier. Meanwhile, in the human world, life goes on as normal with people having fun at a night festival. A group of ladies dances lively with red fans, not caring about the approaching war. At a food stall, a boy orders a super spicy dish to enjoy the festival night. A couple dances together in the middle of the street while their friends watch them with smiles on their faces. But suddenly, a massive explosion occurs in the middle of the city, startling everyone present. The civilians stare at the sky, shocked by the explosion, not understanding what the heck is happening. Back in the valley, the demon boy shouts for a stupid human to stop staring and call his guard. The red smoke from the explosion dissipates and reveals a group of demons advancing against the humans. In the midst of the smoke, the figure of Kumiya appears completely covered in a black goo. With a dirty face, the young woman calls for her mother, who has been defeated, and is lying on the ground with the guards. The Empress Dowager calls for her daughter with her last bit of strength. While the other guards are lifeless, the humans scream in terror at the demonic power and ask for the Underworld King's palace to be notified. With a wicked smile, Kuning continues to control the young Empress with his magic mirror. Thus, the girl summons a gigantic blue energy creature to attack the human city. The demon people run in terror from the magic that advances relentlessly, destroying everything in its path. The creature reveals itself to be a huge killing dragon, and the humans scream in terror at its appearance. With its shining scales, the creature is colossal and prepares to attack the city with everything it has. From there, the creature explodes in a shower of blue energy flowers that hits the demons. The attack hits the demon people head-on, and they scream in pain from the Empress's powerful magic. Our protagonist decides he will act that day, and prepares for his revenge against the woman. Suddenly, a deafening noise echoes through the house, interrupting his plans once and for all. From there, the ceiling explodes in a wave of blue energy, and the young man is shocked by the scene. From the midst of the dust, Shirui appears desperately and shouts for little Ten to run as fast as possible. Our protagonist turns around surprised and is completely shocked by the woman's sudden appearance. With a swift movement, the woman grabs him and pulls him close, preparing to protect him from the attack. From there, the wave of blue energy hits Shirui's back head-on with absurd force. Seeing the scene, our protagonist screams desperately for his mother, his face full of tears and terror. The ultimate plot twist that changes everything moment. The date is January 29, 3775, a day that will be etched in history as the beginning of the end, the kind of date that future students will have to memorize for exams they'll definitely fail. A brutal massacre has just occurred in the Light Province, and thanks to a live broadcast, the entire central continent watched the horror unfold in real time, because nothing says medieval fantasy like continent-wide streaming services. The statistics are grim. The demon race suffered over 4,000 deaths, while the human casualties surged past 15,000, with thousands more missing on both sides, the kind of numbers that make spreadsheet warriors weep and warmongers salivate. This wasn't just a skirmish. It was a spark that ignited a continent-wide powder keg. As the footage of the bloody demon emperor spread, the human race was consumed by a righteous fury, while the demons were left in a state of absolute shock. How could their sovereign fall so far? It's like watching your team captain get absolutely bodied in the first minute of the championship game. High-ranking officials and common citizens alike realized that the era of fragile peace had died alongside Lin Potion. A shadow loomed over the world, the shadow of a massive dragon, and the promise of a war the likes of which no one had ever seen. In the heart of the ruins of Light Province, the atmosphere is thick with hatred, so thick you could cut it with a spirit blade. A young demon girl, battered and tied to a stake, stands as the target of a vitriolic mob. They scream for her head, and stepping forward to answer that call is Qin Ming, one of the 12 stars of natural disaster. Clad in his ceremonial robes with a golden halo and a glowing purple energy blade, he addresses the grieving masses like a politician who just discovered the power of fear-mongering. He speaks of the parents, lovers, and children lost to the demon threat, the universal language of propaganda. Qin Ming plays the martyr, claiming that 6 years ago, he opened the borders to the demon race out of a naive hope for reconciliation. The classic, "I tried to be nice and look what happened" speech. He screams to the crowd, asking how the demons repaid their kindness. The answer, according to him, is the slaughter of their people and the destruction of their homes. He labels the demons a lowly, ungrateful race, devils incarnate that must be trampled before they can trample others. The political drama meter is hitting red. In a dramatic move of political theater, Qin Ming announces his resignation as the Grand Commander of Light Province. He declares that he will wage war on the Heavenly Dragon continent in his own name, so as not to involve the innocent or implicate other provinces. The "I'm doing this alone" speech that every villain gives right before thousands volunteer to join him. His rhetoric works perfect. The crowd roars in support, with veterans begging to rejoin the army and citizens vowing to follow him to the death. The fever of war is officially unstoppable, and the infection rate is 100%. However, far from the shouting mob, in a temporary relief camp on the outskirts, a young boy named Little Tian watches the broadcast with a cold, analytical gaze, the only person in the continent who remembered to bring his brain to the apocalypse. While the world panics, he sees the cracks in the narrative. He knows the demon race is currently too weak to win, especially with their emperor captured. Even more importantly, he realizes the mutual destruction threat from the demons is a complete bluff, the kind of bluff that would get you eaten in a poker game with actual stakes. Little Tian deduces that since Lin Potion's death, the Heavenly Dragon Guards have lost their ability for independent thought. Their core programming is to protect the demon race, which directly conflicts with any command for mutual extinction. It's like asking a guard dog to bite its own owner. He realizes the entire fear-mongering campaign is based on a brilliant lie concocted by the politician Dan Yunduo. If the other stars of natural disaster realize this bluff, the demon race is doomed. There will be no one left to save them. The game theory moment that would make a political science major weep with joy. Back at the execution site, Qin Ming sets his final plan in motion. 15 days. That is all the time he needs to prepare, the countdown timer that every protagonist dreads. He intends to execute the Demon Emperor, the young girl on the stake, as a sacrifice to his war flag before launching a full-scale invasion. Little Tian, gripping his tablet, knows what he must do. He whispers a silent vow. He must save the princess. The main quest has officially been accepted. Transitioning to a more personal struggle, Little Tian is seen reuniting with his injured mother. He has managed to pull her from the chaos, but his demeanor is freezing, the emotional equivalent of a glacier deciding to be extra cold today. He tells her bluntly that he only saved her to settle the debt of her giving him life. Now, he claims, they owe each other nothing. His mother, however, is overwhelmed with motherly instinct and fear for his future. She knows his spirit power is far too low to survive the coming storm, the parent radar that never switches off, even during apocalypses. Breaking down into hysterical sobs, she begs him for 30 days. She wants to teach him everything she knows, the art of poison mixing, combat techniques, and the knowledge of her past. It's like the world's most intense cram session before the final exam of existence. Little Tian watches her, convinced she's having another one of her psychotic episodes. He reflects on his childhood, remembering her as a woman who often spoke in riddles and illogical connection. He didn't understand her then, and he doesn't understand why she's putting a 30-day cap on his training now. The confusion of a son who's been through this particular movie before. As he looks at her, a flood of memories returns, the trauma DLC installing itself without permission. He remembers happy times, learning at her side and traveling together. But buried beneath the warmth is a traumatic memory. The sight of his mother, eyes wide with terror and glowing with an eerie light, screaming at him to run as a dark power consumed their home. It was the night he lost his father and the life he once knew. The backstory drop that explains everything and nothing simultaneously. Back in the present, Little Tian stands with his mother as the world outside prepares for a bloodbath. In January 775, a choice was made, a decision so weighty that it would lead to a lifetime of regret. Little Tian stands in a red-tinted void, his mother's head resting against him. As the gravity of his path begins to set in, the kind of existential weight that makes you wish you'd chosen a simpler hobby, like stamp collecting. He looks at her with a silent, piercing gaze, recalling the harsh lessons she taught him. We see the duo working together, boarding up their home while his mother sings a cheerful, rhythmic tune. Our life is sweeter than honey tilde, the kind of domestic bliss that feels suspiciously like foreshadowed tragedy. While she tries to maintain a facade of normalcy, his eyes drift toward a mental image of the captured princess, her bloodied form tied to the stake. He steels himself, deciding to prioritize urgency. Let's save the princess first, he mutters. To prepare for the rescue, Little Tian heads into the city, passing a wall covered in colorful talismans and arrays. He enters a shop where the merchant, a man in traditional attire and dark glasses, asks if the family debt is still heavy. Little Tian coolly informs him that this time, he's here to buy goods, the upgrade from debtor to customer, a promotion of sorts. He pulls out a few hundred yuan he saved for emergencies and places an order, 2 of each, thunder, fire, and poison. As the price is tallied, Little Tian realizes that war preparations have driven the market up, but he manages to secure just enough for his needs. Inflation hits even the apocalypse economy. The scene shifts to the exterior of the Light Prefecture Witch Medicine Shop, a hub of activity in the tightening city. Inside the pharmacy, Little Tian presents a list to a confused pharmacist. She notes that while the materials like cinnabar are common and cheap, she's never seen a prescription quite like this, the medical equivalent of a recipe for disaster, written in a language only one person understands. She asks what he's planning to do with them, but he doesn't answer. Instead, we see him back in the streets, using a brush and a bowl of red pigment to paint a mysterious symbol on a brick wall, the graffiti artist of the resistance movement. As he works, the background is filled with the disgruntled chatter of human citizens, all echoing the sentiment that the demon race is too excessive this time, the background noise of a society choosing the wrong enemy. Little Tian finishes the mark, a stylized bat-like symbol that looks like the logo for a very exclusive, very deadly club. This mark is the horn for his secret expeditionary force to assemble and attack. A memory of a fiery-haired commander appears, reminding us of the absolute authority of military law. Those who violate military orders will be dealt with by military law, the kind of threat that makes you double-check your RSVP. Gazing at his handiwork, Little Tian wonders if his old teammates are still willing to give him some face today, the social capital of a former commander, now trading on goodwill and shared trauma. Following the death of Lin Potion, the high-ranking nobles stripped the Expeditionary Forces battalion commanders of their citizenship. Left with nowhere to go, these elite warriors scattered across human territory, hiding their identities to survive. First is Hong Dai, the former medical unit battalion commander, now laughing as he sells meat to humans, a healer turned butcher, the irony so thick you could cure it. Next is the young Nai Kunkun, son of the former logistics battalion commander, hiding his monkey-like features while eating in the streets, a face that launched 1,000 ships, now trying not to launch 1,000 suspicions. Finally, we see Cheng Shiyu, the former melee unit battalion commander, walking through the center of Light Province City as a seemingly normal mother carrying her baby, her warrior past hidden beneath a soft coat, the ultimate undercover op, domestic bliss. In a more provocative setting, we find Han Wuxin, the former ranged unit battalion commander, working as a masseuse, from sniping enemies to kneading backs, a career change that requires a very specific skill set. Her client praises her skill and figure, completely unaware of the deadly assassin beneath him, the kind of compliment that could be your last. She handles the praise with a professional smile, accepting her payment. Nearby, her younger brother Han Wuki acts as the lookout and money collector. Back at Little Tian's home, the boy lies awake in bed next to his mother. He waits until she is deep in sleep, noting that she seems to have finally settled her worries, the calm before the storm, or perhaps the storm itself gathering strength. He decides he must handle the rescue of the emperor himself, knowing his mother would never agree to him taking such a massive risk alone, the classic, "I'll do it myself" moment that every parent dreads. As he tries to slip away, his mother's hand suddenly shoots out, gripping his wrist with surprising strength, the grip of a woman who's lost too much to lose anything else. He freezes, thinking he's been caught, but she is merely mumbling in her sleep. She talks about having money now and asks what he wants, promising to buy him anything. Her voice breaks as she repeats, "Mom is too poor. I'm sorry. I'm sorry," over and over again, the apology of a parent who measures love in what they couldn't provide. The weight of her guilt and love nearly breaks his resolve. Little Tian stands in the dark, tears streaming down his face as he listens to his mother's heart-wrenching apologies, the moment when duty and love collide, and neither emerges unscathed. He pulls away and leaves the room, his mission now fueled by a mix of duty and a desire to change their fate, the rebellion of a son against the universe that keeps breaking his mother. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to the massage parlor, where the guest is getting impatient and angry. the impatience of a man who doesn't know he's sitting on a live grenade. Han Wuxin, now wearing a dark, predatory smile, realizes the impatient guest doesn't know how much danger he's truly in, the smile of a predator who's just realized dinner walked in on its own. Han Wuxin stands over the guest, the glowing red mark reflected in the window behind her, signaling that her true life is calling, the ultimate sorry, I have to take this moment. We jump back to the butcher shop where Hong Dai is chopping meat. A customer complains that the coming war is the demon race's fault. Hong Dai, hiding his rage behind a thumb up and a loud laugh, agrees with the man, calling his own kind bastards, just to maintain his cover and collect his money. The survival instinct of a man who's learned that pride doesn't pay rent. However, as Hong Dai takes a banknote, his eyes widen. Hidden in the patterns of the money is the secret red mark, the currency of a different kind of transaction. He slams his cleaver down in shock, nearly hitting a customer who yelps in surprise. The signal is everywhere. Cheng Shiyu sees it on a brick wall as she walks with her family, and young Nai Kunkan sees it printed on a balloon floating through the night market, the message in a bottle, if the bottle were a city and the message were war. The horn has been sounded. In the final moments, little Tian stands ready, waving a small hand as if saying a casual hi to the shadows. Good luck, he whispers. Han Wuxin, now in her off-duty gear with a cigarette in hand, stares at the mark and asks, did you draw the picture? The question of a soldier recognizing her commander's handwriting. The scattered commanders of the Demon Race Expeditionary Force are finally reuniting, and little Tian is the one holding the leash.